Alright, today we're going to try to remove the front bumper from a 2012 Kia Soul so that we can change the black piece, which is cracked. That's this. It's cracked on the bottom, so this black plastic piece is going to come out and we're going to replace it with a new one. Alright, so we're going to start by removing some of the screws from the top plastic. Some of them are Phillips head screws, and there's a couple of socket regular bolts. Alright, so there's two different kinds of plastic screws here. They're the type that unscrew, and then you just, without unscrewing it all the way, you pull out the plastic tip, and later on that'll go in and get screwed back in. But if you leave the bottom in, you won't be able to pull out the whole bumper. So pull the whole thing out. Okay, this is the other type of plastic connector. With a flat end screwdriver, you pull the top out, and then this may come apart, but you can push it from the back or pull it. Just get this whole plastic thing out of here so that the bumper piece comes off. Like that. So now you have two pieces, just keep them together. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is pull off this black plastic piece from the top here. There's nothing really holding it, it's just sitting on top there, so I'm just going to pull it out. Okay, so right here, this is there's a little snap that'll pull this plastic piece off and get this loosened up. So we'll do that on both sides. Alright, next there are a group of screws underneath the bumper that we're going to remove. Okay, so there were a few screws that you need a Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew from underneath. It's really tight. You may have to jack up the car, but for now I'm able to access these screws, so we're going to just try to unscrew it. Okay, so these are the screws that we removed from the bottom. There were 3 regular metal screws and then 5 of these plastic connectors. Needed a small Phillips head screwdriver to get under there and remove those. And the plastic ones you have to kind of wiggle out with your fingers or use a screwdriver to kind of pry them off. There's another bolt behind each wheel that has to be removed. If you look behind the bumper here, there's a bolt that you could use a socket wrench on to remove that so that the plastic comes away. So we're going to remove that. This is the screw that came out from the wheel well. It actually could be, I removed it with a socket, but it also has a Phillips head screwdriver tip on it. So there's going to be one of these under each wheel well. So we'll do the left side next. So now we've disconnected all the screws. We're going to try to just pull the bumper off. So from this point, it should just, there are some snaps, but it should just come off. So it's a little difficult to get this disconnected. So I want to take the headlight off on this side just to see if there's another bolt or something inside that is holding the bumper on. So I'm going to remove these 2 bolts that are holding the headlight on, number 1 and number 2, and remove the headlight. Okay, we took the headlight off. This was a little tricky. Once we got the bolts off the top, there were 2 clips on the inside, which you can see, one there and one there. And basically, you have to push the headlight down and forward to get it to disengage those clips, down and forward. That's how we got it off, and then just shimmied it out. Okay, so what we discovered is that basically it's just requiring a pull to disengage the clamps. So I just pulled this, and I'm going to pull this, and now it's off. So, yep, there were some little black clips in there that once we push it back, the silver plastic will go under those clips and just snap right back in. And the same thing in the front right here. This silver part has to go under these black plastic clips. And I unsnapped that the same way. I just pulled it out and it snapped. So now we're going to remove the right side, or I should say the left side, of the car. We'll try to do this without actually taking the headlight off. Maybe it'll be a little easier and just pull it. Okay, so we removed the left headlight mainly because there was no place to grip onto the bumper to pull the clips out. So here's where the headlight was. These clips right here, if you just pull them, it's a little scary. Now, they come right off. And the other side, we're going to disconnect this just by pulling it. So what we discovered was that when the last time the body shop worked on this fender, they glued the bumper in on that side, so we cannot take it off. So we are going to try to get off the bottom piece just by having the bumper somewhat separated from the car. We're going to work from the inside. Alright, so we're going to try to take this piece off from the inside without taking the whole bumper off, unfortunately. But what we discovered is there are some screws, some Phillips head screws like at the bottom here. There's one at the top over here, and there's a few more in the middle and on the other side. So I think we can just take all those screws off and pop the black plastic out of the middle. So we took the plastic piece off of the bumper, the black plastic, by pushing on each of the clips. So around the entire edge are these black plastic clips. Basically, either with your finger or a screwdriver, you got to just push them to disengage. But most importantly, when you push it a little bit, you got to pull the plastic off at the same time. That allows it to come apart.
From the front?
Yeah, from the front. So there's the clips all around, and slowly you disengage each clip. And then at the very bottom, there are three tabs where underneath the car, underneath the bumper, there's just these plastic nubs that when you put it back on, they have to fit into. So now we're going to take off finally the top part of this black piece that we'll reuse, and we'll get rid of the cracked piece. So now we're going to take off this middle black piece, which we're going to reuse with these by disengaging these clips just by hand, and that should all pop off. So this is the old piece. We've taken out the honeycomb section and we've clipped it in to the new piece. Didn't need any tools, just had to clip them in, and you really have to push on some of them pretty hard, some of the clips, to make sure they actually clip in, otherwise the honeycomb piece will be loose. So the new plastic piece had these tags on it that had little rip-off pieces that we kept for our records, just as the serial number. This says Kappa Certified Auto Part. When I purchased it online, it said that it was guaranteed to match the size dimensions of the original Kia part. So we kept the tab from there. Now we've got the new piece ready to reattach to the bumper. The first thing we're going to do is basically get the clips, the plastic clips in place back onto the silver bumper, and then we're going to use the screws. I think there were about 6 or 8 of them that we removed to reattach the black plastic piece. So here's one unusual thing. The bottom of the plastic has these little slotted tabs, and what is not so obvious is that underneath here there are slotted pieces in the gray plastic that when we slide this on, you have to slide those tabs right through that. So this is going to be like a little jigsaw puzzle. So my handy assistant has held up the side of the bumper. What we've done is put the black plastic back into the silver part of the bumper, and um, these tabs, there are little slots like I pointed out that have to go through the main part of the bumper, and then there are screws. There's, I think, 8 of them, top, bottom, to put the black plastic back onto the bumper. Just make sure those little plastic nubs right there go straight through. That sometimes they like to bend. Okay, so we're going to reattach the bumper itself, which at this point is just going to be clips. So we're going to push on the side. We never did actually completely pull off that side, so it's just one side we're clipping back on. Okay, so before connecting or snapping in this part of the wheel well, you got to get these guys down here snapped in. There are 3 clips, and you just have to position the bumper in the right spot, and you usually need to get them in. I'm going to put the headlight, the left side headlight back in. It's got to slide in from the front like this, and you watch these top pieces that they are going to align. Now, it's a little tough because there are clips inside, so you have to just push it forward, and then until you hear them click. Yeah. And you see the bottom is kind of secure now. Just the top is loose. So we're going to put the new bolts right in those 2 holes. Place the 2 headlights here on the front of the car, which is actually real simple. It's just a matter of pushing them straight in. Don't try to push them from the side. They got to go straight. There's those 2 clips on the underside that clip them. You'll hear them snap. And as long as these bolt holes are aligned, you're okay. So these 2 bolts I just replaced right on top of the light. Same thing on the other side. We got these 2 bolts, and the light once again just gets pushed in gently straight in. And then don't forget, of course, to reconnect the electrical connection there, which is difficult to see, but right here. And when you take it off, it's just a matter of squeezing it, pulling it out, and then when you push it back in, it just snaps back in. Okay, under each wheel, I also reconnected the bolt that's down there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's just 1 bolt behind the fender, and push the wheel well plastic back behind the. Yeah. So we're going to put back the screws that go to the bottom underneath the bumper. There were 3 regular metal screws, and then 5 of these other ones. Now these are a little bit beat up here because they shouldn't be all sticking out like that. You could buy new ones, but we're going to try to just get these back in and screw them back in. All right, we've got the front plastic grill back on. Along the bottom, I've replaced the underside screws, which I didn't videotape because it was just too hard to get the camera down there. But finally, we're going to put the top plastic piece back on. On the top, there were a total of 2 metal screws, 3 that have the plastic plugs that have screw tops, and 4 of the plastic plugs that have push down tops. And this is the top piece of plastic that's going to go on the car. So let's put that on. We're going to put this plastic piece back on the top where it belongs here. So this is going to fit under there like that and slide into position. So the key is to put the bottom part of it in first and lay it in. So there. So now we've got these different holes here that we're going to put screws in. So the 2 metal bolts are going to go, 1 on the corner by this headlight on the left side and 1 by the corner headlight on the other side. We're going to tighten those down, and then the rest of the holes we're going to put those plastic nubs in. So finally we've put in the plastic top with the metal screws and the plastic plugs. We finished that off, and basically we are finished. We've put the new piece on the bottom, reattached the bumper. We put those screws back in behind the wheel well. Got this all connected, and that's about it. Took us about 3.5, maybe 4 hours, but it was the first time we did it, so it was a new thing. And then we also couldn't get the bumper off on this side, which delayed us quite a bit. But looks good overall, and it was a good piece we got.